Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship. The USS Liberty was a human warship. It was not the biggest ship in the human fleet, but it was fast and strong. Jake had been captain for 5 years. He was a good leader, and his crew trusted him. The ship had been on a normal patrol mission. They were checking the outer edges of human space. Everything had been quiet for weeks. Then their jump drive broke. The machine that let them travel between stars stopped working right. Instead of taking them home, it threw them far away into unknown space. "Sir, I see something big on the sensors," said Lieutenant Lisa Hart. She was young but very good at her job. Her voice was excited and worried at the same time. "There are many ships out there. They are huge." Jake walked over to look at her screen. The numbers made him frown. "How many ships, Lisa?" "At least 50, sir. Maybe more. Each one is bigger than anything we have ever seen." Lisa's fingers moved fast over her controls. "They are all around a space station. The station is as big as a city." Commander Ryan Blake came to stand next to Jake. Ryan was Jake's best friend and second in command. They had served together for 10 years. "Captain, what are your orders?" Jake looked at the main screen. It showed empty space, but he knew the enemy ships were out there. "Put the alien ships on screen, Lisa." The screen changed. Now Jake could see them clearly. The alien ships were beautiful and scary at the same time. They were made of some kind of crystal that shined with its own light. Each ship was at least 3 times bigger than the Liberty. They moved in perfect formation like dancers in space. "Sir, they are trying to talk to us," said Ensign Tony Brooks from the communication station. He was the youngest person on the bridge. "The computer is trying to understand their language." "Put it through," Jake said. A strange voice filled the bridge. It sounded like music and metal mixed together. The computer worked hard to change the alien words into English. After a few seconds, they could understand the message. "Unknown vessel, you have entered the space of the Zephyrian Empire. This is forbidden. You will shut down your engines and surrender at once. If you do not obey, you will be destroyed. You have 1 minute to decide." The bridge was quiet. Everyone looked at Jake. They all knew they were in big trouble. 1 human ship against 50 alien warships was not good odds. Any normal captain would surrender and hope for the best. But Jake Morrison was not a normal captain. He had grown up on a farm on Earth. His father had taught him that some things were worth fighting for even when you could not win. Freedom was one of those things. "Mr. Blake, what do we know about these Zephyrians?" Jake asked. Ryan checked his computer. "Not much, sir. We have heard stories from other alien races. The Zephyrians have a big empire. They are very powerful. They do not like other races very much. Have they ever fought humans before?" "No, sir. We are too far from their space. This is the first time humans and Zephyrians have met." Jake smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who is about to do something dangerous. "Then they do not know what humans can do in a fight." "Sir, they are much bigger than us," Lisa said. "Their weapons are probably stronger too." "Maybe," Jake said. "But they have never fought humans before. They do not know how we think. They do not know how we fight. That gives us an advantage." The alien voice came again. "Your time is up. Prepare to be destroyed." Jake sat down in his captain's chair. "All hands, this is the captain. We are about to go into battle. The enemy thinks 1 human ship cannot fight 50 alien ships. They are about to learn they are wrong. Everyone do your job and trust each other. We will get through this." He turned to his crew. "Lisa, charge all weapons. Make sure our missiles are ready. Tony, try to jam their communications. If they cannot talk to each other, they cannot work together. Ryan, take us to battle speed." "Sir, battle speed will hurt the crew," Ryan said. "The gravity will be very strong. Humans can take more gravity than most aliens," Jake said. "That is another advantage. Take us to maximum speed." The Liberty began to move faster. Jake felt the gravity push him into his chair. Around the bridge, his crew worked hard at their stations. They were scared, but they did their jobs. "Weapons ready, sir," Lisa said. "Communications jammed," Tony reported. "We are at battle speed," Ryan said. Jake looked at the alien ships on the screen. They were starting to move toward the Liberty, but they moved slowly, like they had all the time in the world. They probably thought this would be easy. "Target the biggest ship," Jake ordered. "Fire all missiles at once." "Sir, that ship has strong shields," Lisa said. "Our missiles might not hurt it." "Trust me," Jake said. "Fire." The Liberty shot 20 missiles at the alien flagship. The missiles were not ordinary weapons. They were smart missiles that could think and learn. As they flew through space, they watched the enemy ship and figured out the best way to attack it. The alien shields stopped the first few missiles. But the other missiles learned from this. They changed their attack and hit the ship in different places. The alien ship's armor cracked and broke. "Direct hit," Lisa shouted. "Their flagship is damaged." "Good," Jake said. "Now let's see how they like fighting humans. Take us into their formation. We are going hunting." The USS Liberty flew straight at the alien fleet. One small human ship against an empire. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. Admiral Krexhai stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was the greatest military leader in the Zephyrian Empire. His crystal body glowed with anger as he watched the small human ship attack his fleet. For 300 years, the Zephyrian Empire had ruled this part of space. No one dared to fight them. When Admiral Krexhai told ships to surrender, they always did. This was the first time anyone had said no to him. "How big is their ship?" he asked his tactical officer. "Only 800 meters long, Admiral. Our smallest destroyer is 3 times that size. Shall we destroy it now?" Admiral Krexhai was about to give the order when something strange happened. The human ship suddenly moved very fast. Not the slow, careful movement that all civilized ships used. This was a wild, dangerous speed that should have killed everyone inside. "That is impossible," the tactical officer said. "No crew can survive that much gravity." But the human ship was not finished. It spun and twisted through space like a crazy dancer. Its weapons came online with a sound that made all the Zephyrian sensors scream warnings. Then the human missiles hit the flagship. Admiral Krexhai felt his ship shake. The shields that had protected Zephyrian ships for centuries did nothing. The human weapons went right through them like they were not there. "Damage report," he shouted. "Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. The armor is cracked." How did they do that? Admiral Krexhai did not know. No one in the Zephyrian Empire knew. For the first time in his long military career, he was fighting an enemy he did not understand. On the Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison watched the alien flagship burn. "Good work, Lisa. What is our missile count?" 70% remaining, sir," Weapons Officer Katie Miller replied. She had taken over when Lisa moved to sensors. "Their shields cannot stop our rotating frequency attacks." Jake nodded. Human weapons were different from everything else in the galaxy. Most aliens built weapons that did one thing very well. Humans built weapons that could change and adapt during battle. The smart missiles learned from each attack and got better. "Mr. Blake, take us through their formation. Let's show them how humans hunt in packs." The Liberty flew straight into the middle of the alien fleet. This was something no sane captain would do. The Zephyrians had been expecting the humans to run away or fight from far away. They were not ready for a ship that charged right at them. "Sir, we have 3 destroyers coming at us from the left," Tony Brooks called out. "I see them," Jake said. "Katie, fire missiles at the lead ship. Lisa, jam their targeting systems. Tony, send a fake distress signal to make them think we are damaged." The Liberty's missiles hit the first Zephyrian destroyer. But these missiles were different from the ones that hit the flagship. These were designed to make big explosions. The destroyer's hull cracked open like an egg. Air and fire poured out into space. The other 2 destroyers tried to attack the Liberty, but their targeting systems were jammed. Their shots went wide. The Liberty spun around them like a small fighter fighting big, slow giants. "Their reaction time is too slow," Ryan observed. "They are not used to fast combat." Jake smiled. "That's because they have been bullying weaker races for centuries. They never learned how to fight someone who fights back." The Liberty shot its cannons at the second destroyer. The energy beams cut through the alien ship's armor like a hot knife through butter. The ship broke in half and exploded. Sir, the third destroyer is trying to ram us, Lisa warned. Let it come, Jake said. Full power to engines. Take us up and over. The Liberty shot up just as the alien destroyer charged through the space where it had been. The Zephyrian ship was going too fast to stop. It crashed into one of its own cruisers. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. 3 ships down, Katie reported. The rest of the fleet is trying to surround us. Jake looked at the tactical display. The Zephyrian ships were moving to cut off his escape routes. It was a good plan. It would have worked against any other enemy. They are trying to trap us, Ryan said. Then let's spring their trap, Jake replied. Set course for the space station, ramming speed. Sir, that station has hundreds of guns, Lisa said. We cannot fight it alone. We are not going to fight it, Jake said. We are going to use it. Trust me. The Liberty flew straight at the massive space station. The Zephyrian ships followed, trying to catch the small human vessel. Their guns fired again and again, but the Liberty was too fast and too smart. As they got close to the station, Jake gave his next order. Full stop. Reverse engines. Now. The Liberty suddenly stopped and flew backward. The Zephyrian ships that were chasing it could not stop in time. They flew past the Liberty and straight into the space station's defensive guns. The station's computers thought the Zephyrian ships were attacking. The automated defenses opened fire. Huge energy beams cut through the Imperial ships. The aliens tried to signal that they were friendly, but their communications were still jammed. In 2 minutes, the station's guns destroyed 5 more Zephyrian ships. Sir, the remaining ships are pulling back, Lisa reported. Jake watched as the alien fleet retreated to a safe distance. They had lost 8 ships to 1 human vessel. Admiral Krexhigh's perfect record was broken. Damage report, Jake asked. Minor. Hull damage, Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez replied over the communication system. Some burn marks on the armor. Nothing serious. Ammunition? We used about 30% of our missiles. Plenty left for another fight. Jake nodded. The first battle was over, but this was just the beginning. Soon, the entire Zephyrian Empire would know that humanity had arrived. They would send more ships, bigger fleets. Sir, we are getting messages from all over Zephyrian space, Tony said. The news of our attack is spreading fast. They are calling for reinforcements. How long before more ships arrive? Jake asked. Maybe 6 hours for the closest fleet. A day for the big battleships. Jake stood up from his chair. He looked at his crew. They were tired but proud. They had just defeated an alien fleet that was 50 times bigger than their ship. All hands, this is the captain, he said into the ship's communication system. We just showed the galaxy what one human warship can do. But this is only the first battle. The enemy will send more ships. They will try to stop us. He paused and looked around the bridge. We are alone in enemy space. No one is coming to help us. It is just us against an entire empire. Some people would say that is hopeless. I say it is exactly where humans fight best. The crew cheered. They were not scared anymore. They were ready to fight. Mr. Blake, set course for the Kepler mining station. If they want to send reinforcements, let's make sure they have nothing to reinforce. The Liberty turned away from the burning alien ships and jumped into hyperspace. Behind them, Admiral Krexhigh sent urgent messages across the Empire. The humans were coming and no one knew how to stop them. Emperor Vexmore sat on his crystal throne in the heart of the Zephyrian Empire. He was old, even by Zephyrian standards. For 200 years he had ruled an empire that stretched across 1,000 star systems. No enemy had ever challenged his power. Until today. The news came in reports from across the Empire. A single alien warship had destroyed 8 Imperial vessels and damaged many more. The ship had escaped into hyperspace before reinforcements could arrive. Now it was somewhere in Imperial space, and no one knew where it would strike next. How is this possible? The Emperor asked. His voice echoed through the great throne room. One ship against the Imperial fleet. Grand Admiral Yulnara knelt before the throne. She was the greatest military mind in the Empire. She had studied the tactical recordings from Admiral Krexhigh's defeat. Your Majesty, these humans fight unlike any species we have encountered. They use tactics that should not work. They take damage that would destroy other crews. Their technology changes during battle. The Emperor leaned forward. Explain. Their ship moves at speeds that should kill everyone inside, but humans can survive more gravity than we thought possible. Their weapons adapt to our defenses. When our shields stop their first attack, their second attack is different. And their tactics? Chaotic, Your Majesty. They attack when they should retreat. They charge when they should defend. They break every rule of proper military conduct, and somehow it works. The Emperor stood up. His crystal body flashed with anger. One ship. How can one ship threaten an empire? But even as he spoke, more reports were coming in. The human ship had been spotted near 3 different systems. Each time, local defense forces had tried to stop it. Each time, they had failed. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison studied the star charts. They had been in Zephyrian space for 3 days. In that time, they had hit 2 supply depots and a military base. Each attack taught them more about the enemy. Sam, how are the repairs going? Jake asked Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez. Jump drive took some damage in the last fight, Captain. I can give you a few more jumps, but we need to be careful. We are also down to 60% ammunition. Jake nodded. We need to make every shot count. What about fuel? That's better news. Their ships use a different power source, but we can convert it. The fuel we captured at the supply depot will last us 2 weeks. Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster looked up from her computer. She was the ship's intelligence officer. Captain, I've been studying the enemy communications we intercepted. I think I understand their weakness. Tell me. They have not fought a real war in 300 years. Their tactics are all about fighting weak enemies who surrender quickly. They do not know how to adapt when someone fights back. Amy brought up a display showing Zephyrian fleet movements. Look at this. Every time we attack, they send the same type of response. 3 destroyers and a cruiser. Always the same formation. Always the same tactics. Jake studied the display. They are fighting the last war, not this war. Exactly. And there is something else. Their command structure is very rigid. When we jam their communications, their ships cannot work together. Each captain waits for orders instead of thinking for himself. This was valuable information. Jake made a decision. Amy, I want you to compile everything we have learned about the Zephyrians. Their weaknesses, their tactics, everything. If something happens to us, this information needs to get back to Earth. Already working on it, sir. On the other side of the galaxy, panic was spreading through the Zephyrian Empire. The story of the human attack had reached every world. Citizens who had lived their entire lives in peace were suddenly afraid. On the planet Zexanora, Governor Multai received an urgent message from the capital. The human ship had been spotted heading toward his system. He was ordered to prepare defenses. How many ships do we have? He asked his military advisor. 12 destroyers and 3 cruisers, Governor, plus the orbital defense platforms around the main world. Is that enough to stop one human ship? The advisor hesitated. Governor Admiral Krexhai had 50 ships. The humans destroyed 8 of them. Governor Multai felt cold fear in his crystal heart. Then we evacuate the civilian population, send them to the inner systems, and call for reinforcements from the Second Fleet. But the Second Fleet was having its own problems. Admiral Kexler had received orders to hunt down the human ship. But how do you hunt something that moves faster than your sensors can track? How do you catch something that attacks and disappears before you can respond? Sir, we have reports of the human ship in 3 different systems, his tactical officer reported. But the times do not match. Either they have 3 ships or they can move faster than our intelligence suggests. It is 1 ship, Admiral Kexler said. But they are moving in ways we did not think possible. They are jumping short distances very quickly. Our long-range sensors cannot keep up. On the Liberty, Tony Brooks monitored Zephyrian communications. Sir, they are calling up reserve fleets from all over the Empire. At least 200 ships are heading this way. Jake smiled grimly. Good. That means they are scared. Scared enemies make mistakes. Sir, that is a lot of ships, Ryan Blake said. Even for us. Ryan, do you remember the Battle of Earth? When the Kraxan Empire attacked our homeworld? Of course, but we had the entire Earth Defense Force then. We had ships, yes, but what won that battle was not our ships. It was our refusal to give up. The Kraxans expected us to surrender when they destroyed our orbital stations. Instead, we fought harder. Jake turned to address his entire crew over the ship's communication system. All hands, this is the captain. By now you all know that the enemy is sending hundreds of ships to stop us. They think numbers will win this fight. They are wrong. He paused, thinking of Earth, so far away. We are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every human who will ever travel to the stars. We are showing the galaxy that humanity will not bow to any empire, no matter how big. The crew listened in silence. They knew the odds. One ship against hundreds was not a battle you could win by normal means. But we are not normal, Jake continued. We are humans. We are the species that looked at the ocean and decided to cross it. We looked at the sky and decided to fly. We looked at the stars and decided to reach them. One ship against an empire. For humans, that's just another Tuesday. Laughter echoed through the ship. The crew was not afraid anymore. They were ready to show the galaxy what humans could do. Mr. Blake, set course for the Kepler mining station. If they want to send more ships, let's give them something to really worry about. The Liberty jumped into hyperspace, leaving behind the burning wreckage of another Zephyrian outpost. Across the Empire, alarms were sounding. The reserves were mobilizing. The greatest military machine in the galaxy was preparing to crush one small human ship. But in the depths of space, Captain Jake Morrison and his crew were just getting started. The Kepler mining station hung in space like a metal flower. Its huge arms reached out to collect precious metals from the asteroid field around it. Captain Jake Morrison had expected to find a lightly defended supply depot. What he found instead was a trap. "Sir, I count 50 warships," Lieutenant Lisa Hart reported from the sensor station. "They are hiding behind the asteroids. It's the entire 3rd Imperial fleet." Jake studied the tactical display. The Zephyrians had finally learned. Instead of chasing his ship around the galaxy, they had predicted where he would go and waited for him. "They are getting smarter," Commander Ryan Blake observed. "This is not going to be easy." "Easy is boring," Jake replied. "What type of ships, Lisa?" 20 destroyers, 15 cruisers, 10 battleships, and 5 dreadnoughts." "Sir, those dreadnoughts are each 10 times our size. Their guns could cut us in half." Ensign Tony Brooks looked up from his station. "Sir, they are sending a message. They want us to surrender. Put it through." A new voice filled the bridge. This one was different from Admiral Krexhai. It was colder, more confident. "Human vessel, I am Admiral Hexval of the 3rd Imperial Fleet. You have caused enough damage. Surrender now and your crew will be treated well. Continue to fight and you will all die." Jake thought for a moment. Then he smiled. "Tony, send them a reply. Tell Admiral Hexval that humans do not surrender. Tell him if he wants us, he can come and take us." The communication ended. On the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Hexval received the message. He was not surprised. The humans had refused every offer to surrender. They seemed to prefer fighting impossible battles. "All ships begin the attack," he ordered. "Surround the human vessel. Do not let it escape this time." The Zephyrian fleet moved out from behind the asteroids, 50 warships against 1, the largest military force ever assembled to hunt a single enemy ship. On the Liberty, the crew prepared for battle. They all knew this might be their last fight. But they were not afraid. They were humans, and humans did not go quietly into the dark. "All hands, battle stations," Jake announced. "Katie, arm the quantum torpedoes, the ones from the Black Project." Weapons Officer Katie Miller's eyes went wide. "Sir, we only have 6 of those, and they are still experimental." "Then let's see if they work. Sam, I need everything the engines can give us." Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system. "Captain, if I push the engines any harder, they might explode." "If We don't push them harder, the aliens will explode us first. Do it. The Liberty began to move, but this time Jake did not charge straight at the enemy. Instead, he flew toward the asteroid field. The Zephyrian ships followed, trying to cut off his escape routes. Sir, they are herding us toward the mining station, Ryan observed. I know, Jake said. Amy, what did your analysis tell us about Zephyrian command structure? Intelligence Officer Amy Foster checked her notes. They use rigid formations, sir. Each ship has a specific role. If we can identify the command ship and take it out, the rest will have trouble coordinating. Which ship is commanding this fleet? The largest dreadnought, sir. It's staying back while the smaller ships attack. Jake nodded. Then that's our target. But first we need to thin out their numbers. The Liberty flew into the asteroid field. The Zephyrian ships followed, but they had to be careful. The asteroids were big and dangerous. One collision could destroy even a battleship. Katie, fire conventional missiles at the lead destroyers. Make them think we are desperate. The Liberty shot 12 missiles at the approaching Zephyrian ships. The aliens' shields stopped most of them, but a few got through. 2 destroyers took damage, but they kept coming. Sir, they are not falling for it, Katie reported. They know our regular missiles cannot hurt their big ships. That's okay, Jake said. We just needed to get their attention. Now for the real surprise. Fire quantum torpedo number 1 at the largest battleship. Katie pressed the firing button. A single torpedo shot out from the Liberty. It was smaller than their regular missiles, and it moved slower. The Zephyrian commanders laughed when they saw it on their sensors. Then it hit the battleship. The quantum torpedo did not explode like a normal weapon. Instead, it created a tiny black hole that lasted for exactly 1 second. In that second, it pulled apart every atom in a sphere 50 meters wide. The battleship simply disappeared. Where there had been a massive warship, there was now empty space. What did they do? Admiral HFY shouted. How did they destroy a battleship with 1 shot? His tactical officer had no answer. The sensors showed no explosion, no energy discharge. The battleship was just gone. On the Liberty, the crew cheered. The quantum torpedo had worked perfectly. 5 torpedoes left, Katie reported. Should I fire another one? Not yet, Jake said. We need to save them for the right moment. Take us deeper into the asteroid field. The Liberty flew between the giant rocks, using them as cover. The Zephyrian ships followed, but they were having trouble. Their ships were too big to move easily between the asteroids. Sir, 3 cruisers are trying to flank us, Lisa warned. I see them, Jake said. Lisa, can you scan the biggest asteroid near us? Yes, sir. It's mostly iron and nickel. Very dense. Perfect. Katie, shoot a quantum torpedo into the center of that asteroid. Sir, that will destroy the asteroid. The debris could hit us too. Trust me. Katie fired the torpedo. It hit the asteroid and created another tiny black hole. The massive rock exploded into millions of pieces. The debris flew in all directions like a giant shotgun blast. The 3 Zephyrian cruisers were caught in the debris cloud. Rocks moving at incredible speed tore through their hulls. 2 cruisers exploded. The 3rd was badly damaged and had to retreat. Brilliant, Ryan said, using the asteroids as weapons. Humans have always been good at using the environment, Jake replied. Now let's see what else we can do. For the next hour, the Liberty played a deadly game of hide-and-seek among the asteroids. Jake used every trick he could think of. He hid behind rocks, used debris as cover, and turned the asteroid field into a weapon. The Zephyrian fleet was getting frustrated. They had lost 8 ships and had not even scratched the human vessel. Admiral HFY was beginning to understand why Admiral Krexhai had failed. Sir, the human ship is heading for the mining station, his tactical officer reported. All ships, intercept them. Do not let them reach the station. But Jake was not planning to attack the mining station. He was planning to use it. Tony, can you hack into the station's computer system? Already working on it, sir. Their security is not very good. I can take control of the mining lasers. Do it. The mining station had dozens of powerful lasers designed to cut up asteroids. Under Tony's control, they turned toward the Zephyrian fleet. Sir, the station is firing at us, a Zephyrian officer shouted. Admiral HFY watched in horror. as his own mining station attacked his ships. The industrial lasers were not military weapons, but they were powerful enough to cut through ship armor. 3 more destroyers were damaged before the Zephyrians could destroy the station's weapon systems. "Enough!" Admiral HFY roared. "All ships maximum firepower. Destroy that human ship now." The remaining Zephyrian vessels opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and missiles filled space around the Liberty, but Jake was ready for this. "Emergency jump," he ordered. "Minimum distance." The Liberty vanished just as the alien weapons reached it. A second later, it reappeared right behind the Zephyrian flagship. "Quantum torpedo, point-blank range," Jake ordered. Katie fired their 3rd torpedo. At this distance, there was no way to miss. The torpedo hit the dreadnought's engine section and created its black hole. The massive flagship broke in half. Admiral HFY had just enough time to send one last message before his ship exploded. "All ships retreat. The humans cannot be stopped." The surviving Zephyrian vessels fled in panic. They had come to destroy one human ship and had lost most of their fleet instead. On the Liberty, the crew was exhausted but victorious. They had won another impossible battle. "Damage report," Jake asked. "Minor hull damage," Sam reported. "But Captain, we are down to 3 quantum torpedoes, and the regular missile supplies are getting low." Jake nodded. They could not keep fighting like this forever, but they had accomplished something important. "Amy, did you record everything about this battle?" "Yes, sir, including the quantum torpedo effects and the enemy's reaction patterns." "Good. Prepare a data packet with everything we have learned about Zephyrian tactics. If we do not make it home, this information has to reach Earth." Jake looked at the wreckage floating around them. The Zephyrian Empire was learning to fear one human ship. Soon, they would learn to fear all of humanity. 3 months had passed since the USS Liberty first entered Zephyrian space. Captain Jake Morrison sat in a dark prison cell on the enemy station Vexcala. His ship was destroyed. His crew was scattered across different prison facilities. The impossible mission had finally ended, but across the galaxy the war was just beginning. Emperor Vexmore stood before the Supreme Council of the Zephyrian Empire. The Great Hall was filled with the Empire's most important leaders. All of them were afraid. "The 4th Fleet is gone," the Emperor announced. "The 7th Fleet has retreated to the inner systems. The humans have destroyed over 200 of our ships. Our outer colonies are either surrendering or evacuating." The council members whispered among themselves. How had this happened? How had one species turned their mighty empire upside down? Grand Admiral Yulnara stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we have intercepted human communications. The data that Captain Morrison's crew transmitted before their capture has reached Earth. The humans know all our weaknesses now." "What do you mean?" "They know our ships cannot handle high-gravity maneuvers. They know our command structure breaks down when communications are jammed. They know our tactics have not changed in 300 years. They are using all of this against us." The Emperor's crystal body flashed with anger. "How many human ships are there?" "Intelligence reports at least 50 warships in our territory, Your Majesty. Each one fighting like the Liberty did. They attack in small groups, hit our supply lines, and disappear before we can respond." Admiral Colmar, commander of the 2nd Fleet, spoke up. "Your Majesty, I request permission to execute the human prisoners. Maybe that will stop their attacks." "No," the Emperor said firmly. "The humans fight harder when their people are threatened. We learned that lesson 3 months ago." Meanwhile, in the Kepler system, Commander Nick Taylor stood on the bridge of the USS Constitution. He was Captain Morrison's oldest friend. When Earth received Morrison's data transmission, Nick had volunteered to lead the rescue mission. "Sir, we found them," reported Lieutenant Carol Davis from the sensor station. "The prison station is heavily defended, but our intelligence is good. The Liberty's crew is being held in the maximum security section." Nick studied the tactical display. The prison station was surrounded by 20 Zephyrian warships. Normally, that would be a problem. But humans had learned a lot in 3 months of war. "Contact the Ranger and the Defiant," Nick ordered. "Tell them to begin their attack runs. We go in exactly as planned." The 3 human ships attacked the prison station from different directions. They used all the tactics that Captain Morrison had discovered, high-speed maneuvers that the aliens could not follow, adaptive weapons that changed with each shot, communications jamming that left the enemy confused. In 30 minutes, the prison station's defenses were destroyed. The rescue teams beamed aboard and found Captain Morrison and his crew. "Nick," Jake said as his friend helped him to his feet. "I was wondering when you would show up." "Sorry we are late," Nick replied. "We had to fight our way through half the Empire to get here." As they made their way to the escape ships, Jake asked about the war. What he learned amazed him. "Your data transmission changed everything," Nick explained. "Fleet Command used your tactical analysis to develop new fighting strategies. We are hitting them everywhere at once. How many ships do we have in Zephyrian space? Officially? 50 combat vessels? Unofficially? Every captain in the fleet volunteered for this mission. We had to turn people away." They reached the Constitution's bridge just as the ship jumped into hyperspace. Jake was amazed by what he saw on the tactical display. Human ships were fighting all across Zephyrian territory. The empire that had seemed so powerful was crumbling. "They never learned how to fight a real war," Nick explained. "For 300 years, they bullied weaker species. When someone finally fought back, they did not know what to do." Over the next few weeks, Jake watched the war from the Constitution's bridge. His own ship was gone, but his mission was complete. The data his crew had gathered was being used to defeat an empire. The final battle came at the Zephyrian capital world. Emperor Vexmore had gathered every ship he could find. 300 vessels, the largest fleet in the Empire's history. Against them came 50 human ships. The battle lasted 6 hours. The humans used every advantage they had learned: speed, adaptability, and the refusal to give up. When Admiral Sarah Brooks, the fleet commander, ordered the final attack, the human ships charged straight into the heart of the enemy formation. Emperor Vexmore watched from his palace as his fleet was destroyed. The humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. They took damage that should have killed them and kept fighting. They used tactics that broke every rule of civilized warfare, and they won. The treaty was signed aboard the USS Constitution. Emperor Vexmore himself came to surrender. He was a broken ruler whose empire lay in ruins. "How?" he asked Jake as they met in the ship's conference room. "How did you defeat us with so few ships?" Jake thought for a moment before answering. "You ruled through fear. When someone was not afraid of you, you did not know what to do. But we had more ships, better weapons, a larger empire." "You had all those things," Jake agreed. "But you did not have the one thing that humans have: the willingness to fight impossible battles and find a way to win." The treaty established humanity as a major power in the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire agreed to free all enslaved species and stop their expansion. Human ships would patrol former Imperial space to make sure the treaty was followed. Captain Jake Morrison received the highest medal that Earth could give. But he always said the real heroes were his crew, ordinary humans who had faced an empire and refused to surrender. "What will you do now?" Nick asked as they stood on the Constitution's observation deck, watching Earth grow larger on the screen. "Go. Back to space," Jake replied. "The galaxy is a big place. There are probably other empires out there that need to learn about humanity." "Are you not tired of fighting?" Jake smiled. "Nick, I am not a fighter. I am an explorer. But sometimes when you are exploring, you meet bullies. And when you meet bullies, you have to show them that their victims can fight back." Years later, the story of the USS Liberty became legend. Cadets at military academies across the galaxy studied the Morrison tactics. Young officers learned about the day one human ship entered Imperial space and changed everything. The Liberty itself was rebuilt and turned into a museum. Visitors came from hundreds of worlds to see the ship that had defeated an empire. Children would stand on the bridge where Captain Morrison had made his impossible decisions. But the real legacy was not the ship or the battles. It was the lesson that the galaxy had learned. Humanity had shown that no empire was too big to fall, no enemy too strong to beat. All it took was the courage to fight back and the refusal to give up. In the end, that was the most human thing of all. The USS Liberty had entered Zephyrian space as one small ship on a routine patrol. It had left as the flagship of a revolution that freed countless worlds and changed the balance of power across the galaxy. And somewhere in the depths of space, other human ships continued to explore, carrying with them the knowledge that when bullies threatened the innocent, humanity would always be there to fight back. The galaxy was a safer place because humans had shown that freedom was worth fighting for, no matter the odds.